What's up, YouTube? Back again with another new video. So last year, I want to say like 7 months ago or so, quite a while ago, I released a video titled 6 marketing mistakes or common marketing mistakes that a lot of new streetwear brands make. And in that video, I pretty much discussed all the things I noticed from various brands that specifically tried to reach out to me for a channel review or channel promotion type deal. And in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 just common mistakes in general that I've noticed a lot of up-and-coming brands make. So not all are specifically pertaining to the marketing aspect, even though there are, I think, some on this list that are. Overall, it's kind of more broad, you know, a lot of a larger scale on things that I've noticed that kind of cause brands to not take off and or crumble. I will be peering down from occasion because I don't want to miss anything and accidentally leave something out. So, yeah, once again, I'm not, it's not a sign for help, guys. I promise I'm okay. Anyway, starting with number 1, we have producing too much product or having just in general too much product in stock prior to actually getting your name out there and, you know, actually getting known or actually building an audience of some sort or a clientele of some sort. And I've seen that time and time again. Maybe when you were in high school even, maybe you knew some kids who were like in your graphics class who wanted to start off a little like, you know, a little screen print tee brand, nothing too wild. And they'll like spend all this money, maybe they'll buy like 200, 300, 400 tees, and they'll screen print on all of them, right? Maybe size range, extra small to double XL, whatever. And I was like, hey, so did you start an Instagram? You have a website? Do you have an email? Does anybody even know who you are? Oh, no. I was like, but you just spent all this money on all those tees, and you just spent money screen printing all those tees, and you paid a graphic designer, or graphic designed yourself, and nobody knows who you are. No. Oh. See, that's something I noticed, I'd say, with a lot of the teens and the people in their early 20s. Usually that's a mistake they make. And why that is, I mean, think about it this way. Let's say you don't even put in the effort to get yourself known. So this one is specifically pertaining to marketing. And you're just stuck with all this useless stock taking up space. And a lot of money. You're already down the hole. Depending on what you buy, I mean, a lot of money, I'm assuming. So that's one mistake I would personally avoid, especially like, that's why I notice like a lot of YouTubers do it kind of the right way, because maybe they build their audience, kind of see if people maybe kind of tease something that they're going to release, whether it be merch or an actual brand that they're trying to make, and then they start selling it, or they do kind of like made to order, like maybe they like, you know, like a pre-order type system, maybe they're like, oh, okay, 100 people paid, you know, I'll make 100 tees, whatever. They kind of do it that way. And I think some of these smaller brands, maybe if they're just building, you know, taking photo shoots, doing lookbooks, and then trying to build an Instagram audience or trying to even maybe build a YouTube channel, I think you're better off kind of doing it that way, you know, kind of build some hype up before you make a ton of product and end up stuck with it and having to deliver it to your local Goodwill for everyone to realize that you kind of failed. I actually knew someone who threw all their tees out. They just took them to Goodwill and left them there. I went to the Goodwill. There was a rack of this guy's t-shirts that I know he printed in high school. And moving on to number 2, we have charging way too much for a subpar, mediocre design or graphic tee. And what I've seen personally in the past, I've seen people email me and they're selling a tee, and that nobody knows them, by the way. Like, really small Instagram following, no YouTube or Twitter presence, no just real online footprint or like hype to go off of. And they're charging like $100 for a graphic tee, and it'll be, you know, like not even a good blank, like whatever the lowest tier blank you could think of. And they'll be like, oh, but I want it to be designer. I want it to be high fashion. I'm like, okay, but it looks like the ink you even used on that tee looks like crap. And you're charging $65 to $100 for, let's say your brand's name is Pillow. I know that's really random, but let's say your brand's name is Pillow. Just go with it for a second. So it's a box logo that says Pillow across the chest. No one knows who you are, and no one cares enough to pay $100 for that t-shirt. Because nobody knows you. You have no presence. So why would you think that someone would just be like, yo, I'm gonna pay $100 for that? And that's usually what I've noticed is you can't charge that much for your brand name. Like, I'm not saying like a really cool graphic that you came up with, but like some people will just put their brand name. But nobody knows you. Nobody cares enough to give you that much money, considering you can get like a Supreme tee retail if you actually bother to go to the store or try to get it online. What is it, like $40 to $50 for a tee? Like, why would they go to you for that? It just never really made a lot of logical sense to me, unless they got ripped off from the get-go and they got charged a lot of money to produce these mediocre designs. I'm not entirely sure. I know a lot of people get ripped off in this industry, and it's normal because a lot of, like, when you're starting, you don't fully know what's going on. You don't fully know who you're in business with, which you should, unless you're someone who does everything yourselves. More power to you if you do. It's a lot better that way, I would think. But yeah, like, just don't charge too much for something that, really isn't that cool or unique, especially if you aren't, well known or have an audience. Now, moving on to number 3, we have stealing designs or not changing designs enough, and you end up getting a cease and desist or some type of lawsuit towards your brand. I know I've seen something similar to this, and I'll actually go into a quick little story. There was someone who I went to school with who would sell t-shirts with like Mickey Mouse. Like he would screen print them, even though I think the teacher even told us not to do shit like that. But he would screen print tees with like Mickey Mouse because Drake wore one in like a video of like two hands, like in the gun, like Mickey hands as like a gun with the gun fingers. And I don't remember who made that. It might have been like Crooks and Castles. This was a long ass time ago. And he made something similar but with Mickey's face. And he made a website. I think he made like a Facebook page and all this other stuff. And he actually, to my knowledge, got told by Disney, you cannot make this. I mean, that should be pretty common knowledge, considering he didn't really change all that much. I think he added like a gun to Mickey's hand or something like that. And, he didn't pay licensing or merchandising rights, and he had Mickey's face on the damn thing. So that's just something I've noticed. And then also, a lot of these people, maybe you see like an artist on Instagram. Maybe he made some cool graphic and he just posted on Instagram. He would post his artwork. And then people will be like, yo, tight. They'll take it and they'll put it on their own t-shirts and hoodies or hats or whatever. But they didn't credit or pay, fuck credit. They didn't pay the artist who actually bothered to paint it or to make it online, like, graphic design. They never bothered to pay them. So stealing designs blatantly, and then they end up getting sued by the artist in question, who they stole from. And, that's just really scummy. See, in that case, it's different than the other things. The other one's like you're taking something from like a larger company, but obviously that'll end in a lawsuit eventually if you actually get big enough. And in this case, it's, individuals taking from people who are small, unknown artists and, just selling it as if they created it without paying the individual who designed it. So that's something I would definitely avoid. It's just not ethically correct, and it's just kind of fucked up, to be honest. And at number 4, we have shitty customer service or a strong lack of customer service. Antisocial Social Club comes to mind in the past, although I have heard they corrected that issue ever since that video came out, so good on them. And then also a shitty, non-user-friendly website or no website. So I've been on some websites that some of you guys have sent me, and I do understand sometimes this stuff can be expensive. There are a lot of outlets that can do this stuff for you nowadays, though. There's a lot of like brands that you can build websites on. I'm not plugging any of them here because they didn't pay me. But yeah, like I've just seen some that I'm like, yo, where's the add to cart? Where is this? Where is that? Like, they're just really, garbage websites that you could tell, like, they look like something that belong on, like, they look like something that came from like 1999. Like, they look like genuinely terrible, lowest of the low HTML, like, beginner class websites. And then on top of that, like I said, bad customer service. In 2018, you're going to get called out for it. There are some brands I can think of off the top, but I won't disrespect them right now. Actually, yes, I will. I remember, I think it was a Mint Crew that had a lot of issues with customer service. People were saying like they were DMing them and stuff, but they weren't getting responses. I don't know if they've mended that since. So if they have, and if they're watching this, just let me know. Have you fixed your customer service? Because a lot of people I've seen complain about it in the past, like 2 years or whenever they were like around. I remember they emailed me once. Never got back to me though. But yeah, it's just not going to fly in 2018. You want that consumer to come back and to continue to purchase from you. You don't want them to have a bad experience after bad experience, and then at that point they just stop, messing with you altogether. And lastly, this is a pretty big one. This laptop is like frying my legs right now, but it is the only place I currently have to place it where I can read it. And it is making an entire collection on an in the moment or borderline dying trend. I've seen all these brands hit me up in the past. They specifically only make maybe like one or two things, right? Like let's say like in the Jerry Boy Yeezy season era of like 2016, all they made were like one pair of olive zipper trousers, like a long line tee, and then they focused all the brand's energy on only looking like that. And then I see them like 8 months later and they're out of business, website gone, Instagram page gone, Twitter abandoned or deleted just like the Instagram. And yeah, you can't really do that successfully, I don't think, unless you have that much buzz that you can just like make it, let it die, move on to the next trend. Sometimes that works, but sometimes these brands put so much money into kind of doing one thing, like one thing in the moment. That'd be like, imagine like a brand comes out right now and then all they make is, I don't know, what's like a trend that's about to die? I don't know, just think of a trend that's about to die, but then they only make that. Like they're a little late to the party is I guess what I'm trying to say. They didn't really bother to do any research on what's currently still trending, what's currently still selling for a lot of these other brands, or they just don't make it look better. Like maybe they make a chunky sneaker, but they make like the worst one, so no one even bothers to give it a chance to even buy it. So yeah, just stuff like that. I mean, kind of, actually try with your brand. Just don't try to do what's popular, because popularity shifts so fast nowadays in streetwear and just like fashion in general. I feel like one thing's popular and then just a few months later it's gone. That's just what it feels like. I feel like the cycle is so much faster and it's just spinning at such a high velocity. It's almost impossible to keep up sometimes. That's why sometimes you just have to try something new. If it doesn't work, hey, it doesn't work. It is what it is. Nothing too crazy, man. I mean, hey, that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. If any of you have your own suggestions for people, let them know and let me know in the comments section below. And also watch my last 4 videos that released. I'm actually on a pretty decent and consistent schedule. And also, thank you so much to everybody in my community tab who wished me good luck and to stay safe with regards to the fire that was going on in the area. Everything is a lot better right now. So I really do appreciate all of you who sent me your love and prayers. It means a lot to me. And what else? Is there anything else? Anything else? No, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out, YouTube.